From your local station. Century. It started on the beaches. Then, in 1959, Bill France converted a swamp into a 2.5-mile high-bank racing facility unrivaled in motorsports today. France also created NASCAR, which provides racing teams and drivers that match the proportions of this facility for speed and daring. And welcome to the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway, for the twin 125-mile qualifiers. They are fast, they are frightening, they are important. Good day, I'm Ken Squire with these two races to decide the majority of the field. The front row was decided a few days ago. Today, 28 more positions are decided in two 125-mile races, with the final 10 positions reserved for fast qualifiers who've had problems in these races. The story of the week is Bill Elliott. Remember Elliott in 1985 winning over $2 million? He considered he had a poor year last year at only $1 million. Well, he's back in his winning ways here in 1987. This was his pole position run around the 2.5-mile track at over 210 miles an hour, breaking his 1985 record. A day before, Elliott bested 9 others at 197 mile per hour average for the 50-mile sprint. Elliott at 210.364 is on the pole, and he's in this race for a couple of reasons. One, to really shake out car number 9, and number 2, to try to take that $30,000 first prize. Alongside is David Hobbs and Ned Jarrett for the action. Gentlemen, your comments about these races.
Well, Ken, in so many forms of racing these days, the word qualifying is kind of redundant. It's really just a way of forming the grid. But here today, qualifying really means just that. Over 20 of these guys are going to be putting their cars on the truck and going home tonight.
Because it is their last chance to get in the Daytona 500. It also serves as a good test for them. This is the first time since they've been here that they've had their cars in actual competition, so they really look forward to it.
Here's the starting lineup for the first of the 125s. Bill Elliott is on the pole, the 85 champion, with Dark Horse, Missouri's Ken Schrader alongside. Dale Earnhardt, defending national champion, on row 2 with Neil Bonnet. And in row 3, it's Rick Wilson and the Talladega winner, Bobby Hillin Jr. In row 4, Buddy Baker, the 1980 Daytona champion, and Phil Parsons, Ricky Rudd, and Darrell Waltrip with his new team. Row 5, row 6, Lake Speed, and the 72 winner, A.J. Foyt. In row 7, it's Ron Bouchard from Massachusetts, and the 7-time champion, Richard Petty. Tom Sneva, the Indianapolis great, is there. Looking further back in the field are drivers hoping to make the top 14 today and make their way into the Daytona 500. Pace car is in. Field down. 14 cars to move on into the Daytona 500. Green flag is out on the brake. Elliott pops out in front. Richard Petty pressed all the way to the wall in the Busch clash. They had a serious incident right here that eliminated Terry Labonte and rumpled up the front of Earnhardt's car. Everybody away safely. Moving into second spot goes Earnhardt.
Richard Petty, of course, is another man that's always got to be watched here at Daytona. A very, very successful track for him.
Ricky Wilson goes to third. Back straightaway, Baker pulling up into fourth.
Baker is really on the move. He likes to run the high banks at Daytona. There's a lot of money in this race. When I ran in them back in the early 60s, you only won about $1,100. Now there's closer to $30,000 that goes to the winner. 30 drivers started the race today. They'll go for 125 miles. That's 50 laps on this 2.5-mile track. Cale Yarborough set the record back in 1970.
Out of those 30 drivers, of course, only 20 are going to be still here on Sunday. And now in the lead, there is Buddy Baker. He's continued that charge to the front, being followed closely by Dale Earnhardt and Neil Bonnet, and of course Bill Elliott in the number 9 Ford.
The Oldsmobiles running well here as they come around into the first turn area, better than 199 miles an hour. Right up on the 200-mile-an-hour mark, Baker, who ran the fastest 500 in history on the Daytona Speedway in 1980 at 177-mile-an-hour average in front. Now Neil Bonnet tucks to the inside and goes for second place.
His car is handling well on the inside of the racetrack, and here comes Bill Elliott falling right along in his draft.
Bill Elliott, of course, never a man to be counted out here. Right behind him, Dale Earnhardt, going very strong, last year's national champion. And, of course, there goes Neil Bonnet for a go at the lead on the bottom of Buddy Baker.
Bonnick pushes the Pontiac on the bottom of the racetrack. Oldsmobile running in that second position. Then a Chevrolet, then the Ford of Bill Elliott. Here they are out of the tri-oval, back for the first turn. And it's still side by side for the lead. As they, oh, we've got trouble down here and directly below us in the tri-oval.
It's Phil Barkdahl in car number 73.
Barkdahl crashing into the wall. It did not go over.
Quite a lot of flame. We don't see any signs of Phil Barkdahl getting out. He must be still in there trying to get out hard. The flame's dying down. The spread, the gas got pretty... Oh, there he is.
Barkdahl is moving, trying to extricate himself from this totally destroyed automobile. The Oldsmobile of Phoenix, Arizona's Phil Barkdahl crashing a single-car accident directly below us here in the tower.
He had a little trouble getting some of his safety harness unloosened, but now he is out.
Yeah, they tie that strap around his helmet there that you see flapping. He probably had that tied to the car somewhere. Was trying to get himself extricated.
Let's look again and replay, if we can, at what happened here to Phil Barkdahl. He dug into the grass on the bottom of the racetrack and
slammed backwards into the wall. It doesn't really turn over again, but apparently ruptured the fuel cell as he went backwards into the wall.
Ruptured the fuel cell there, and it's throwing fuel around, which is probably the best thing that could have happened to him because there's not a lot of fuel left on board. We see it ignite here, but it's all being spread around.
Dave Despain has joined our CBS staff, and he is standing by on trackside with Phil Barkdahl. David?
The man who has climbed out of the remains of that car and, in fact, picked up a piece of the remains to bring with him for a souvenir, Phil Barkdahl. Tell me about the ride.
Well, I dropped the motor. Just like I down in here, I dropped the motor. It just broke loose on me. Of course, it broke loose. It started sideways. And sideways, the air got in the car, and of course, it went in the air. For a little while, it was quiet in there, and then it got a little loud again. So, but I never got knocked unconscious. I had... Winston Cups has quite a bit of safety equipment, so I never got knocked unconscious, and I knew the car was on fire. I unhooked myself, and I didn't think I'd get out that door, so I just come out the other door. So, but I was conscious all the time what was going on.
I saw you picking up lots of pieces. You have one in your hand. Were you looking for any souvenirs in particular?
I want to take one back with me, yeah. I want to take one back with me.
Phil Barkdahl, a wild ride. He's A-OK.
The Daytona International Speedway stays under caution. Buddy Baker in front, Neil Bonnet in second. We'll be back with more shortly.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Announcing the biggest truck value package in Chevy history. Now get a new 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty. Plus, on select new Chevy pickups, low 3.9 GMAC financing. Or $500 cash back. It's Chevy's biggest pickup value ever.
Ooh, the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet.
Hey, Chevy truck.
Hello, I'm Leona, your automatic teller. Can I help you with a student loan?
No, a car loan, Leona. Fast forward.
A home improvement loan.
It's a General Motors car. Don't get hassled when you finance a new car or truck. Get GMAC financing only at your GM dealer. Is there someone live I could talk with around?
Do we have one of our calendars? This is a fan calendar. We also have what they call a trim calendar. If I can only find it.
500 miles of Hot Wheels on the hottest track. Feel the speed. The Daytona 500. Tomorrow on CBS Sports.
We are back under green in the twin 125-mile qualifying races for this Sunday's Daytona 500. Buddy Baker in front, but barely. As Waltrip rides in second. Bill Elliott's third. Ken Schrader is in fourth.
Waltrip has moved up through the pack rather well. There's some smoke coming from Dale Earnhardt's car, but I believe that was tire smoke came as he went into the turn. He lost traction a little bit.
There was a couple of cars smoking there. Probably was. There's Waddell Wilson, Darrell Waltrip's new engine man, and the new team, the Rick Hendrick Chevrolet team. And, of course, Darrell went very strongly last Sunday in the Busch Clash. And he's having a bit of a sniff down the bottom side of the banking there to see if he can get round, and holding right on there on the bottom side of the banking. Last week, he couldn't get his car to handle, but he's got plenty of horsepower.
Out of turn number 4. Here's a bad crash in turn 3. Tommy Ellis, the Virginia driver, going side over side. He cleared A.J. Foyt in another car. Up in turn 3, ended up in turn number 4. That's Ellis.
There's flames there coming out of the dashboard. See, just in front of the windscreen there? Tommy Ellis moving around in there trying to get out.
There's A.J. Foyt's number 14. And we're told that the third car is the car from Wisconsin. That's Sauter's number 89.
Jim Sauter, father of 11 children, and here Ellis is just barrel rolling over those two cars.
He was behind them. They were already sliding down the track, and Ellis was catapulted over that pair and started this series of sidewinders. He is apparently all right.
And lucky there not to slide up. There we see Tom Ellis walking around. He's obviously okay, as okay as you can be after a thing like that.
A bit wobbly. A.J. Foyt still in his automobile. Sauter out of his car. And here is Greg Sachs. He was also involved to some degree, just missing the incident. Sauter over looking in on A.J. Foyt, who is still in his Oldsmobile, number 14. Another look at what has happened here in this second major incident of the day.
It looked like the Sauter car and A.J. had come together, and Ellis had lost control down on the inside, and the car just started to barrel roll.
Tim Sauter had been running just in front of A.J. Foyt when this started to develop. They locked horns, and then Ellis apparently had no place to go but over them.
And Greg Sachs must have been in there somewhere as well. Obviously, he's made it back to the pits. A.J. Foyt is obviously out of the car now, but they're just loading it up onto the flatbed truck to drag it away.
And David, we're being told that A.J. Foyt is conscious. However, the four-time Indianapolis 500 champion has sustained an injury to his right arm and shoulder. So, as we go back under green after this caution...
A sale here, sales there, menswear sales. They're a dime a dozen until you come to Kuppenheimer's. Kuppenheimer's Washington's birthday sale puts new meaning and new value into the word sale. No one can touch it. Kuppenheimer's entire stock of fashions for men is on sale now. The sale is so unique, it's worth a trip from anywhere just to enjoy the savings. Yes, this sale's so great, you'll enjoy it. Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 6. The George Washington's birthday sale at Kuppenheimer.
We're revving up and counting down the greatest hits of '86 in a special edition of Solid Gold. Your center stage for all the excitement with the year's favorite Whitney Houston. You'll see all the biggest hits from Grammy contenders Peter Cetera, Michael McDonald, and more of your favorites, plus Nina Blackwood with the Pointer Sisters and Stevie Wonder. It's the best of '86 starring Marilyn McCoo on Solid Gold.
Solid Gold, Sunday night at 10:30, only on Channel 7. Wheel of Fortune, Monday through Saturday at 6:30, only on Channel 7.
David Hobbs, I'm Ken Squire. We're watching a dandy 125-mile qualifier.
With just 6 laps to go, Bill Elliott has now caught Kenny Schrader.
There you see those two leaders, and there's no question that Elliott is setting Schrader up. Wonder what Schrader has in mind. He'd like to make that car about 10 feet wider. There's your third-place car. Darrell Waltrip about a second, now a second and a half back, as those two Fords, numbers 90 and 9, continue to draw away from the field.
Darrell Waltrip is gradually being wound in by Buddy Baker and Rick Wilson. Lake Speed, who we just saw going slowly there, will probably make the race because of his qualifying speed. He averaged over 204, so he should make the race anyway.
I think Ricky Rudd would be another one. He made the unscheduled pit stop, and he'll have to use his qualifying speed to get him in the race as well.
Exactly, because he'll get that down. There we see the two leaders.
Taking a look back, we'll check the interval out. There you see the leaders, and there is Waltrip. And This race, as far as Waltrip is concerned, is one of containment. He has to hold Baker, who is in fourth, Rick Wilson in fifth, Richard Petty in sixth. Those two Ford leaders, they don't want to play with him at all. Here comes Elliott on the inside at 4. Schrader making just a short bobble. And on the inside, Elliott comes up. They run wheel to wheel. A little bit of a break for car number 17. Here's Elliott trying the shot on the inside. They're still wheel to wheel. And Schrader gets back out in front of Elliott.
His car got really loose as he went over the stride, then into triangle. Obviously running alongside Ken Schrader was not the place for that car to be. He lost some aerodynamic aid and the thing got really loose.
That's definitely not where he wants to make his pass. He'll have to resize him up again. The next time he'll try it off of the turn 2 down the backstretch.
Lake Speed on pit road, number 83. Good effort, falls short. He'll have to stand on his time. Meanwhile, up in front, give a medal for bravery to car number 90. Schrader, the sprint car guy, showing he's got a lot of heart for this, not being intimidated by Elliott. 1 iota coming around. With 3 laps to go this time.
Elliott's going to have to set him up to the tri-oval and try and get him coming off turn 2. 1 and 2 seem to be where Bill Elliott's car is exceptionally strong, but he didn't like being alongside Schrader, then it upset his car badly.
Schrader is kind of an easy-going guy, but he's tremendously aggressive. As a sprint car driver out of the Midwest, he won a lot of races, and that's brutal racing. He's used to mixing it up in open cockpit, open wheel cars, and let's see what he's going to do here, trying to hold off Elliott. Elliott likes to run smooth and clean and doesn't like to rumble that car up. Schrader, he's like Earnhardt. He'll put a fender on you if he thinks he needs to.
Regardless of where he finishes, first or second, Ken, he still can do no better than to start third in the Daytona 500.
Front row is already locked in. The front row, Bill Elliott with a new record, and alongside the amazing young 25-year-old Davey Allison, son of Bobby Allison. They'll start side by side in the second 125-mile qualifier. Time running out. Schrader drawing away. There's Waltrip back in third. If those two leaders decide to mix it up.
Passing lap traffic there in turn 2. That may have fallen slightly to the advantage of Elliott. I don't know, it may have slowed Schrader up more than him, perhaps.
Schrader on the point. Time running out. White flag this time by for Ken Schrader, the Missouri driver who has never won a Winston Cup race. Anything that looks like a checkered flag will be good for him.
Elliott dropping back a little bit to get his running start as he goes down into turn 1.
Letting that Ford take a deep breath, and here comes Elliott on the charge, going into the last lap. Elliott swings high. Going for turn 1. Elliott on the high side, last lap. Schrader throws the block. Turn 1 at under 200 miles an hour. It's wide open to the finish now.
Here's where he has to make the move, Ken, but Kenny Schrader is doing a good job of using the racetrack in front of him, but now he has to make the move now as he goes down the backstretch.
Schrader dropped to the inside of the track there to try and shake him off. A trick we've seen done many times here before.
Good move.
Here comes Elliott, high side, looking on the high side, going all the way to the top, coming down for the finish. Schrader on the bottom at number 90. Bill Elliott on the outside, coming down to finish the first 125. Elliott's there. Here comes Schrader back for the line. They're still side by side. It looks dead even.
I think Schrader got it. Schrader made it.
Schrader may have taken it by it. We'll have to look at that and replay. Schrader on the bottom of the track. Elliott had him 100 feet from the line. Incredible finish.
Incredible indeed, both to Ken Schrader and his owner, Judy Dunleavy. Dunleavy been coming here for 38 years to Daytona racing. Now let's see it in replay, and we'll see if he really did win it.
Elliott seems to have the advantage about 100 yards away, but Schrader then cuts to the inside of the racetrack where he can get the most speed and just barely gets it by inches.
Let's go to victory lane with our colleague, Chris Economaki.
Kenny, you showed us something twice, both the time at the start-finish line. That first time when Elliott pulled alongside of you, did you see his car get light?
I knew everybody was light out there today. And he knew that I was out of tires, and I kept going up. I kept sliding up. So when we went into 3, I just rolled way off the throttle and kept that thing on the bottom and made him go the long way. If he did it, he earned it, but I wasn't giving it to him.
Kenny, what does it feel like now to hold off $1 million Bill Elliott and beat him in a photo finish?
Feels pretty good, Chris. It's a long way from Terre Haute, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, thank you very much, and good luck on the 500. Kenny, now down to Cave de Spain.
Got a kid named Ken Schrader who got into the race as a provisional starter last year. He's right up there slugging it out with you this year. What do you think of this kid?
Well, the thing of it is, you know, you never can count anybody out in Winston Cup racing, and this shows it today.
Dark horse Ken Schrader runs to daylight by about 4 inches, defeating Bill Elliott in the first 125-mile qualifier. The report on A.J. Foyt, he's going to be all right. They'll come out with another car for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Exceptionally smooth. In the night. The night belongs to Michelob.
Dad, my nose is stuffy.
Oh, you caught my cold. Neosynephrine cleared up my nose right away. See? And there's neosynephrine for your nose, too.
Neosynephrine. Nothing's faster or more effective. It lets you breathe a lot easier.
If you're looking for a simple way to apply for the American Express card, simply pick up one of these. Because now you can apply over the phone. Just call 1-800-THE-CARD.
A look at the highlights from the second 125-mile race, which has the human interest story of the entire week. The Allisons. Bobby Allison, age 49, on the outside of row 1, and his 25-year-old son, a rookie in the front row. For the first 3 laps, the number 28, Davey on the inside, his dad on the outside at 200 miles an hour.
Then we see later on in the race there, side by side with Benny Parsons. He doesn't have quite so much luck to start with. The car gets away from him, but with tremendous control and absolute lack of panic, he holds on to that car and goes on to finish in the top 10.
Didn't work quite as well for Blackie Wanger in the car number 39. He spins around as leader Benny Parsons goes by. There's Bobby Allison running in second place. They'll go on to finish first and second as Blackie Wanger slips back up on the racetrack and hits the wall. Around, down on the inside, out of the way of oncoming traffic.
Here are the final standings in the second 125-mile qualifier. A big victory for Benny Parsons. Bobby Allison in second. Bodine third. Sterling Marlin fourth. Harry Gant fifth. And the man who will sit on the outside of the front row in the Daytona 500, Davey Allison, was relegated to sixth after that wild slide. In the final position, way back on the made it when Rodney Combs had engine trouble and succumbed in the last lap. So, the field is established for tomorrow's $1.5 million 29th annual Daytona 500. For an overview on tomorrow's Daytona 500, let's go to our host, Chris Economaki.
Thank you, Ken. Well, the field for the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of stock car racing, is set with Bill Elliott on the pole. Until today, Bill Elliott was the man to beat. Well, today, Bill Elliott was beaten by Kenny Schrader and the surge of youth. Schrader and his young Confederates are not concerned with the names and the reputations of the Waltrips, the Bodines, and the Yarboroughs in this one. But there's more to it than that. There's the question of safety. Today was a difficult day. A lot of wrecks, some drivers injured, and the big question for the 500 is, can it go that long with speed and with safety? Back to you, Ken.
Thank you, sir. For Ned Jarrett, David Hobbs, Dave Despain, and Chris Economaki, I'm Ken Squire, inviting you to join us tomorrow at 12 Eastern for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, live here on CBS.
Those races took place on Thursday. Now, yesterday, Daytona was in the news again.